Yo, welcome to a weekend cast of Age of L. Today we have another very special cast of luigicroissant. Some of you may have seen the previous two casts that I uploaded over the weekend, and I just thought this was a really interesting, high elo, on the come up kind of player, really dynamic play style, military genius, some might say. And I just wanted to keep on casting this player, so I found a game that this player had actually played pretty recently, and decided to cast it. I have absolutely no idea what the outcome of this game is. This is going to be really a surprise for everyone. But anyway, moving on. Luigicroissant has decided to play Celts, recently moved up from our lower elo rank of the 900 band up to 1000. And in the left-hand side of the map, we have our melee player, 1025, as Magna, who is not able to get the scout kill over here, but the scout has just a little bit HP, so blue is going to give chase. Try to get a few licks on that scout. This map, I happen to know, actually is mega random, so we do have some fishy on the left and right hand side of the map, which players can get, and some gold, a little bit of sparse wood and stone on the inside. Sorry, on the outside. And the inside here we have a lot of long-term wood. But we do see looking like a choke point here. I'm not actually sure if players can actually see this at this point. Okay, maybe not quite for everybody, but maybe a good place to start walling off. It looks like Luigi is going to try to attract this scout into the TC fire. Unable to get the kill. No surprises there. Red Scout survives. So Celts and melee up against this map. What am I expecting to see from both players in terms of using their civ tech? It is a really big, large boom map, and that means I think that it's good for raiding. A lot of places where you can create these like choke points, like probably not that expensive to build a wall over here on these sides. Obviously the smiggle over here is a choke point for both players. Perhaps when they reveal more of the map, they'll be able to realize that. As some of you may know, the melee players do get bonuses off of setting fish traps, so that's going to be good for both players to set up. An interesting point about this map in terms of dock placement, which is pretty important, and I suppose that most players are not going to, be able to reveal that immediately, but putting your docks kind of like as close as possible to your TC is not the most efficient placement of docks, because as you see, it's kind of like a long wind to try to get all the fish. So maybe in the center would be better to place your dock. Looks like the flying croissant is going to put up the second dock over here, as both players are now clicked up to feudal. I wouldn't expect too much aggression from this map from units that are not terribly mobile. It is a pretty big map. So I'm expecting maybe players to boom a little bit more. We actually already have 8 villagers in the queue from our melee player as they have clicked up to feudal and gets their first wood production upgrade. So I think there are like a few strategies you can think of. Like obviously the players, depending on what they can already see, are going to start fish booming. So it looks like luigicroissant does see that there's water on the outside, hasn't explored the center yet. Or they can start with some like aggression from mobile units and scouts, right? But I think it's actually going to be really hard for players to get a lot of damage in feudal. Like I said, the wall off is like not terribly difficult, even if you just do it, next to your base. So yeah. Looks like right over here is going to put down an outpost just to keep a little tabs on blue. More production upgrade coming in from the melee player to get better farm eco. And it looks like red is just going to scout a bit, see what's going on with the scout. Not sure if our melee player has as much vision on what's going on or really cares. Looks like they're just trying to boom up to castle age, and they're just about maybe a couple buildings, 100 food, 30 gold away. So we might see a fast castle coming in from our melee player. No one really interested in producing any military yet, so that's a interesting thing. Sorry, I always get this fog mode thing. Okay, up and running, and I have big struggles to turn it off. Okay, so it looks like Luigi Croissant is going to wall up on the right-hand side with some unbreakable palisade walls. As we all know, that castle age units are not able to break through palisade walls very quickly, so that's going to do a lot of good. Yeah, not much going on from either player, to be honest. Not a lot of aggression. But speaking of castle age timing, I think that the melee player has goofed up a little bit on that. I mean, we're already have the resources that we need to click up to castle, but they decide to go for a building that they actually do not need in terms of click up castle. Like typically you want to see the market and the blacksmith come down to click up, but looks like they're just trying to get a barracks, which, you know, maybe is actually good because now we're seeing men-at-arms coming in from our red player. I'm not sure if blue has caught wind of this yet. And there goes the market. So now we're seeing click up to castle, or the intention to coming in from the player as the quick walls come down, as the men-at-arms start coming in. Some of you who may not know, the civ bonuses for the Celts are actually associated with infantry speed. So men-at-arms, like, it's really hard, I think, to play them low elo or even high elo because of how slow they are. But with Celts, it's like, you know, not so bad. These villagers honestly could probably take these few men-at-arms right here. But it looks like these villagers are actually going to walk into the TC. We see walls coming on the left-hand side here from luigicroissant. There's a really, really stark difference in terms of both players if you look in terms of how much resources they have. It looks like luigicroissant is really spending all of their resources on this military push, while Magna could click up to Fugal after this archery range comes in. It's a good move to counter some of these men-at-arms who are just going to take the free kills by taking down the buildings. Looks like they found a little sneaky lumber camp over here. Villagers are absolutely stunned, have no idea what to do. 4 tower coming in from luigicroissant. Something that you may not associate that much with the Celt civ is being a civ that has towers, like any kind of tower tech, but some people might forget that. I don't remember actually if it's an imperial or castle level upgrade, but there is an upgrade they have that fires arrows. I don't remember if it's faster or with more damage, but I'm pretty sure it's faster from towers and castles and other defensive units. So very, very long play upgrade, but you know, it's something that you don't want to sleep on as the scout decides to sacrifice itself to the archer. So luigicroissant being really annoying. Something that's really kind of unfortunate in terms of the gold collection for Magna is that they need gold to build more archers, but the kind of gold that we're seeing right now coming in is really abysmal. I think using the market for that gold will be good, but the market's about to like go down. And the castle age timing here was really goofed by this Magna player. Because, like I said, you do have a bunch of archers in the queue, but we're talking about like working off of like, okay, well, I was gonna say it's 1 archery range, but actually it's 2, so not so bad. Blacksmith's coming in as well, probably get some more archery range upgrades. I would honestly, like, can we just click up to castle? Can we do that? I think, of course, like the benefit of just streaming in all of these units here is like it's like really distracting in terms of economy management, right? But I think this could be a really easy solve if you just go to the market and sell some food and click up. And that's the end of the story. It's all you gotta do. You don't have to make it more complicated. More tower streaming in here from Luigi Croissant. This unit over here looking for huge promotion if they're able to take out the dock by themselves. Archery upgrades coming in from Luigi Croissant, and these archers should be able to clear out this military, but a lot of like economy problems have been caused for our blue player. And on the other hand, if you look at Luigi Croissant's base, like, okay, maybe eco could be a little bit better. The gold game is kind of popping off like way too much, so I need to fix that. But no harassment. We're just relaxing. We're chilling. We're chopping some trees, getting some farms. Archery range coming in from the Celts player, probably to counter some of these archers. Over here, as the archers are going to attack some stray ships. Fletching coming in from red player, probably to give a little bit more range to those towers that are already down. Yeah, I would like to see, now that we have our blue player kind of like sticking to archers, to see some more skirmishers come in. Idle time for both players in terms of the TC is not great, but it's also kind of around the same time for both players. If we see more men-at-arms come in, which is interesting because we don't have the attack upgrade from a Fugal H perspective. And now you're going up against like a pretty good mass of archers and skirms, so not like the best fight for Luigi Croissant at this point. I would like to see them focus a bit more on clicking up to castle. But look at the eco. I mean, the eco is a little bit better in terms of balance for Luigi Croissant. I think, like I said, I'm just repeating what I said about, okay, the market goes down, that sucks. But I'm repeating what I said about this click up to castle. I think that some players just get so on tilt, they just forget, like, oh, I can click up to castle and have been able to click up to castle for like a million minutes, right? Like for a long time. And just keeping this kind of pressure on players is good. One bad thing about continuing to pump out men-at-arms is that they cost food, right? So even though we see 17 on farms compared to the 8 on the blue player, continuing to pump out men-at-arms puts you farther and farther away from castle. But it's a trade, right? Like you're getting your opponent a little bit off tilt. You're creating idle time. You are able to defeat the army, but it's just a really, really big distraction. So I think we get more people on gold. I think we get a market up and running again, and we click up to castle. That's my advice right now for the melee player. And the same thing for the croissant. I think we can kind of like chill out a little bit on the military production and kind of just focusing on scaling the farms. There we go. And just move on. Maybe move on to castle at this point. Like we've done a lot of damage. And we're gonna do more damage apparently to this barracks, because the archer the archer mass at this point is really good for melee, and they can still do some damage with these towers. But also, like I said, it's a good play here to be annoying. Blue finally realizes that they need a second market, because the click up to castle should happen any year now. The same thing is kind of true for the croissant over here. Like we're talking about 900 and 1,000 gold. I mean, they can just buy into castle. It's not like it's not a crazy proposition. The first gold bit is like almost done, right? And even though Luigi Croissant has the military advantage at this point, they're going to be late to castle. So what am I thinking as the blue player in terms of clicking up? Like when it does happen, I think that I'm playing a bit on the back foot, despite the fact that I'm on castle. 44 vills compared to 50 vills from Luigi Croissant, so that's not like great. I would want to expand the eco maybe over here. I'm not sure if they actually are aware of like what's going on in the center of the map, so let's check that out. A little bit. So TC going down in the center is also a good choice, but you wanna boom out of the situation, right? Like you're back a little bit. You're up in castle first, that's awesome. That's great. The croissant also clicks up to castle, which is good. So that's what I want to see happening. I want to see, 1 or 2 TCs go down like almost immediately, which we kind of don't see. All we see is 5 villagers go up in the queue for our Magna player, as luigicroissant just kind of hangs back, and no, it doesn't hang back, goes back in for the barracks, which is really weak. So taking a lot of free hits here, which is good. Nothing wrong with that. Quick house walls coming in as more skirmishers stream out, and it looks like luigicroissant is going to kind of stay obstinate. Forward town center, not terrible. Like, we do cover the gold and the wood over here, so you can't blame them. I would like to see the archery upgrade, or the archer upgrade, come in for blue to maybe do a little more damage to these men at arms. That wouldn't be so bad. Skirmishers dying over here to the TC fire. Hate to see that. And it looks like our blue player is desperate now to get maybe a defensive castle, which is kind of unfortunate because like the house walls over here are really blocking up all these villagers from getting gold. Maybe luigicroissant can come in and maybe delete one of these house walls via men at arms in order to free up these workers to find and collect the stone that they want. Yeah, so just like huge pressure coming in from luigicroissant, as they're going to get the next 2 upgrades from the barracks for this militia line, as these archers are going to focus down these fishing ships, which we all know is the big priority here, is to kill the fishing ships and not the military units that are... Look, oh, so my prediction was right. They're going to help these villagers collect more stone by killing... Look, he just killed one house. He knew what he had to do. Amazing. Love to see it. Villager count, not like that different from both players, right? So we have 53 coming in from a blue player compared to the 55 coming in from our red player, who I think now the second TC is going up. So that's good. Nice little eco expansion there. And I don't know what this is about. Like, what's the deal with this wall over here? But I have to imagine that maybe getting into the mind of a player is like, if you're ahead, the worst thing that can happen to you, like knowing that your enemy can pump out karambits. Speaking of karambits, castle going up over here, is like a raid. And like I said, we got the walls over here, we got the villagers exposed. And by the way, if I'm blue, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to get a little raid in, I want to get a little raid in to prevent things like this from happening, from these long swordsmen from walking around the base and just wreaking havoc on these villagers. Yikes. Little gap in the wall there. These red units should be able to click up. As we started off at 57 villagers, we're already down to 49. That's painful. Not something you want to see when you're playing a game. But this defensive castle over here should be able to provide some relief. And here we go with the karambits, which is a great play. I think you would want to maybe get some vision on your opponent, get like a little counterattack going. But now there's a really big villager disparity between both, and I had no idea. I just saw this. 2 siege workshops on the left-hand side over here from our red player. Not sure if blue can see that. Yes, they can see 1, which is probably to counter and punish some of these archer and skirmisher units. More infrastructure coming forward from luigicroissant. And finally, we see the archery upgrade come in from our blue player. Another thing I would probably consider a little bit as the blue player, which, it's rough to like get past like all this harassment going on, but you got to get another TC somewhere else. You got to expand the farm eco, because we're on 866 wood at this point. We gotta do something to get ourselves out of the situation economically, right? More walls coming in on the right-hand side from luigicroissant, but deciding only to build one wall. I have to imagine that, like, you know, you're a blue player and you come on the right-hand side, you see this one, like, darn, I can't get through. Only deciding to build one half over here, which is, like, really, really unfortunate. So now we can deal some better damage to these militia line units. I would also like to see some armor upgrades coming in from Luigi Croissant. You have to imagine it's like a little important if you're dealing with these archers who don't have ballistics yet, so not as effective as they could be. I don't see University anywhere from our blue player. Oh no, so I do see ballistics actually already in from the blue player, but where is the University? I actually don't see it. So do Malay get ballistics like off the bat? Like, do they just get that as a bonus? I have no idea. And here comes in the mangonel. Karambits are a good counter for these mangonels. Oh, yikes! That was a big hit there. Because the Karambit should be able to deal some pretty quick damage to these mangonels and snipe them, but I also think, like, the longswordsman mass is too high, and the Karambits are, like, I think, what, they're like 40 HP or something? They're very weak. Yeah, 30 HP. So not, like, a great composition for fighting. I think you're kind of, like, throwing money away here. Villagers come forward to try to snipe this mangonel. Not going to happen. So I think that the problems here, like mounting for blue, is like they have to micro at the same time and micro down this heavy infantry army, but also expand their farm eco at the same time. And I think that's kind of like the big problem is like we need to get better farm eco. We're talking about 11 farms for blue compared to 26 from our Croissant player, as our Croissant is now having elite skirms on the field and continuing to queue up more mangonels. So what else is going on here on the map? I think I already had said that like there's going to be a wood problem. Like the wood here on this map is very sparse, so you kind of like it's pretty demanding to continue to get more wood. But something that I have not seen either player take advantage of yet is like the center. I think you know if you get 2 TCs in the center, I think you kind of have like all the resources you need for the rest of the game. But both players are dealing with so much. It's like, you know, it's tunnel vision. It's hard to deal with. And the one thing, like I said, I do like, even though like probably not the most economically sound thing, is that like the Croissant is just going around the map and just maybe not getting like that much damage in terms of villagers in, but just causing a lot of like havoc. Like you're forcing the other player to play on the back foot constantly. This is like an okay move. Like, you know, you do want to tear down like these really annoying buildings in the back, but like not a huge priority. What I would like to see is a counter attack from the Karambits. Karambits go here, find something like this, villagers exposed, and that's going to tilt the balance of the game. Or you go towards the center and get some of these resources, which I believe blue is kind of slightly aware of, you know. I think that would be the good move, but I think the issue, as I said, is that these longswordsmen are actually causing, you know, problems. Like we're talking about getting house capped for our blue player. So it's not like doing nothing. It's good. But also taking like really not good hits like this, like, you know, sacrificing your army for nothing. Yeah, I think if you have like players on the back foot like this, like a good move is just to try to like maybe go up to imp. Yes, be annoying. But start scaling those farms. But speaking of scaling farms, like I think that the Croissant is doing okay. We're on 30 farms now. So we're in a good position to be able to go up to Imperial first. Third TC coming in from our red player. Right over here, right next to the house. Which is a really, really great position, you know, if you want to scale the farms. It's just to build them right over the houses. Second castle coming in from our blue player, as we see either a cancel or the Karambits being able to take out the castle. I'm not sure which one happened there. Another siege workshop coming in from our red player. As some of you may know, the Celts do get some really, really nice bonuses from siege, as they're able to fire, I believe, twice as fast or either a time and a half as fast. Skirmishers, like, not the best counter to Karambits. They're still going to be really annoying. So you do have to keep the long swordsman in the mix, as we see finally, as this annoying long swordsman mass is cleaned up, these 3 villagers are finally able to expand out to the right, which is like good. I would see like expansion out here would be like a really, really good idea. But a lot going on. One reason why I think it's going to be really like hard, if not impossible, for blue to come out of the situation unless they counterattack is the fact that they only have 8 farms. Like that's really bad. But, you know, really, really good damage coming in here because these karambits can take out skirmishers very, very easily. I think that entire skirmisher army was cleaned up from just having these karambits over here. 1 mangonel on the map, 3 in the queue coming in from luigicroissant. And now we see knights in the queue as well for luigicroissant. Maybe you want to get a little bit more ability to walk around these castles. And finally, the villager on the right-hand side decides to clear up these stone walls, which, look, I think this is actually a good move in consideration of the fact that, like I said, you see karambits on the map. The only thing that can really tilt the balance of this game at this point, as I said, is like a counterattack from highly mobile units. Speaking of counterattack from highly mobile units, that's why I think that this knight has been queued up for our red player. That's painful to watch. Mangonels are able to clean this all up in like 1 hit, but also a little friendly fire coming in here for red. I have to imagine these 2 men-at-arms like, why was it worth it? At what cost? 3 stables out now for our red player with only 1 knight on the field. Really annoying, like I said in this map, you really got to manage the eco like very actively because you get situations like this where like the wood is like a little effed up. Blue player continuing to invest in archer tech as the defense upgrade now comes in. And here's something interesting that I just saw. Red wants to definitively take the center. I wasn't going to say that blue should be alerted to this as soon as the capsule comes up because it's going to automatically attack the palisade, but I guess not. As red is now going to take some of the resources in the center, which, to be honest, like both players should have done this like a long time ago. Not just now. As this front is going to be really tough to go through because we got like 2 defensive castles over here which should be able to snipe these mangonels, but we'll see if they're able to like, you know, just tread over here on the side. We actually already have the 2 upgrades coming in from the blacksmith for our castle range, so it does give a little bit more range to these castles, but this is going to be also annoying to deal with because the karambits die easy to these long swordsmen, and now they're going to be able to wreak some damage on something here. We'll see what happens. Are these karambits going to be able to clear up these mangonels? Got a few coming down. Yes, 2 coming down. And not sure if that was worth it as a 3rd defensive castle comes down. Like I said, a little bit of tunnel vision coming in from the blue player on this side, which is like, it's okay. Like, getting these kind of licks. Blue, absolutely, not blue, but red gets totally cleaned up over here. So tunnel vision, that like, it's okay to defend this area of the map. I think, you know, maybe a stone wall could have like fixed this. And what I'm saying about tunnel vision is like the eco, right? You have all this over here. You have the center. Are they aware of the red castle? They're not. So you can go in the center and try that and run into a castle. Or you can expand out to the right-hand side. I think that continuing to try to like defend this is an okay idea, but you know, you have enough castles here now. No one's in Imperial. So let's start smartly expanding the eco. That 1 knight that was produced a while ago finally gets in the match. As these skirmishers are going to run right into the castle fire. You hate to see it. Then we have 3 buildings over here coming in from luigicroissant. 1, 2, 3 barracks. Have absolutely no idea how a villager is going to get to that side of the map in consideration that we are walled off on the right-hand side. Looks like there are more eco buildings coming up from luigicroissant as these villagers decide that times are good. Things are going well from an economic perspective, so we shouldn't need to work. So both players kind of late to Imperial, and in fact, I think blue also can click up to Imperial at this point by utilizing the market, maybe getting more fishing ships, which, speaking of fishing ships, we do have some fishing ships here utilizing that melee bonus. But now the problems might be mounting for a blue player as we see these 12 attack Woad Raiders piling up now. And we both know that they're like really fast. And for units that are really fast, they do have decent HP. You know, that's compared to like the Karambit or Ethiopian Chotel Warriors, which are fairly like low HP units. More action coming over here on the front as Luigi Coconut decides to attempt to take a castle with Mangonels. Not the best matchup. Looks like the Woad Warriors are on the move. And blue is going to react to that because I believe they probably did not catch sight yet of the castle, but probably see the Woad Raiders are going to deal some damage. Nice reaction here on the TC. So I think you can move your military units like away from this side. Like I said, Karambit counterattack's still not coming in, which is like a bit annoying. But what can you do? Woad Raiders are going to go out. We're not able to find any damage, which is fine. And blue, our blue player has finally clicked up to Imperial, and both players are going to have about the same timing for Imperial. Luigi Croissant going to be up a little bit first. Where are these two villagers going? Do you understand that there's a castle? I guess you don't. I have to imagine this is actually like a pathing issue related to these three barracks that came over here. Do see some action on the right-hand side as Luigi Croissant deletes a wall and builds a gate at the same time. Interesting strategy. Interesting strategy there. The Woad Raider is going to be annoying. And I think the blue, yes, knows that there's finally a castle over here. Good composition from blue to try to clean up these infantry units because, you know, Celts, that's like their whole shindig. Infantry armor upgrade finally coming in from Castle Age. And I think the first thing that you do, correct me if I'm wrong, if you go to Imperial, okay, there we go. I was going to say is get Trebs. You need Trebs. That's the whole advantage of going to Imperial first. 4 Trebs in the queue from the Croissant as the Skirmishers once again decide to dive the castle, which is a very interesting military strategy. Love to see it. But red causing a lot of havoc to this lumber camp, terrorizing the villagers. Gonna get cleaned up by these archers, but as I said, like always just getting the player off balance. I mean, I guess if you have like a really massive eco, by the way, Luigi Croissant really needs to clean up this wood situation. Like let's get some more farms over here, or you know, on the left hand side, get them somewhere. Oh, interesting strategy coming in from blue as the Baggo Elephants come in, which there's not a lot actually to protect our player from, so I guess that's what these monasteries are coming down for, to convert these elephants from a red player. They should be able to, well, clear out some of these units here. The skirmisher says, hey, I'm the right person for the job. I can attack this high pierce armor unit. They're going to come in, and at the same time, blue is panicking a little bit in terms of trying to get this quick wall down. Skirm's trying to take the castle by themselves. A strategy that Luigi Croissant has really been obstinate about is using skirms to do some military damage, but in front of a castle, which is not great, but maybe it doesn't matter. Now we have all of these trebuchets on the field. It looks like both, maybe the blue and red castle, are going to go down, but we have one more untouched red castle over here. What's happening on the front? We have these Meganels wreaking havoc to this building, but the Karambits, if Luigi Croissant is not paying attention, should be able to clear this out. Like I said, skirmishers versus Karambits, like not the best composition. Where's these upgrades for barracks units coming out? They should be able to slice and dice these Karambits pretty easily. So a lot of bad things going on here for blue. And all this while, okay, farm eco is better now, but look at the gold. The gold is expended. Is it done? Okay, we have some more gold here coming in from blue. Should be able to get some more archery units, which is honestly like all that blue needs to counter whatever red is doing at this point. Like that's all they need. But the problem is that like the eco for red is like really good. We have a lot of problems coming in here from Luigi Croissant as they're not able to get up these military production buildings. That's really sad. Okay, well, no, one villager on the move. One villager on the move. Game changer. Game changer. But these trebs coming in from this side as well is also problematic, because these karambits, if they're not able to snipe the trebs, which are protected by these units, these two-handed swordsmen, that's like going to be a GG situation. First castle already went down for blue, but now we have crossbowmen continuing to get free kills on these really expensive trebuchets, which is really unfortunate. So it's a really slow burn from blue. I think Luigi Croissant should probably be a bit more decisive in terms of like just focusing down on these castles. So the first one went down, and that's good. These castles are going down. There's honestly like no need to rush, because I think that like as long as you bring these two-handed swordsmen next to the trebuchets, and everything should be fine. Next TC coming in over here, as a few light cab and wood raiders are going to be able to raid and cause a lot of pain. Yikes. And yikes by that, I mean Luigi Croissant is not attacking the villagers and just attacking the TC, which is like not the best strategy. Hello, villagers, alert. So we have two castles that are down now from blue. Like I said, it's the slow play. It's the long game that's important. It's important to attack the house before you attack the castle. That's what the priority is. So, you know what's funny is that like I wonder if the melee player is like looking at the score and saying like, it's not so bad, because they're only like what 2,000 points away, which like in the grand scheme of things is not awful, and they keep on sniping these trebuchets, which is like awful. So the problems are mounting. Final upgrade coming in from the archery range for our blue player. But there's just like a lot of like annoying. It's kind of like the mosquito strategy, like human wave tactics, where you keep on sending a bunch of cheap units to attack and harass your opponent, and just never allow them to have time to come back to your TC and harass like what you got going on, right? It's an okay strategy. It's not the worst strategy, right? Some people get knocked off tilt when you totally annoy them. This should be a very definitive castle coming in from our red player, who I guess only has one villager on this side of the field. Might take a while to get up that castle. Might as well call it a wonder. Like I said, I think now it's like a bit too little too late. Like I think the karambit should have just like ran past over here and found like this villager mass when it used to be over here. But it's a bit too late now. It's not for me. It's not for me. So now the eco for the melee player is kind of like abysmal. We have 3 resource types, of which we have 0 people on, 89 pop out of 135 house population. And the only things they have going for them now is like, okay, I'll give it to the melee player. The archer mass is actually quite huge. We have 36 archers against like not that many skirmishers. These two-handed swordsmen should be cleaned up, but the final castle goes down for the blue player. So at this point, now maybe all you need is skirmishers, because now the karambit problem is more or less done. Blue player incredibly desperate to get this castle up. Unsure if it's going to happen, and at any rate, it might be sacrificed to like the trebuchet gods. This trebuchet looks like it caught wind of this like castle over here, so it should be able to take it down pretty easily in consideration of the amount of skirmishers that we have over here. And yeah, so these blue arbalests are going to be taken down pretty easily from the skirmisher mass. Blue sacrificing his villagers to the TC fire. Going to take this single TC with a single tower. Love to see that. Final infantry armor upgrade coming in from red, finally. Wood game absolutely popping off. 50 farms. And this castle is all for naught. Like, just, yeah, that's painful to watch. To like see your last bit of resources, and God, the panic repair. You love to see that. That's, oh God. But the blue castle was kind of necessary because like you need the karambits to counter these skirmishers. But 2 karambits are not gonna do the job, as the problems just continue to mount for blue. As the market now, the last bastion of hope, is going to probably go down. Trebuchet is rolling through the map. These boats have been like totally unharassed and kind of have been a boom for a red player for like a long time. Two-handed swordsmen finally probably coming in from these barracks over here are going to come in and probably tear up this TC. And the whole while, like, unharassed, untouched, perfect eco. The farm scale over here is just totally popping off. Wow, okay, that's a lot of farms. As we see blue running out of options. We've got 15 people back on wood, but I'm not sure what blue is thinking now. Now they're thinking, oh God, I have to migrate to the right-hand side where they barely catch wind a little bit of, like, this castle, perhaps, on the right-hand side. Oh, my God. What a mad lad. luigicroissant comes in with the laugh, bullying at its best. As Magna says, ZZ. Does anyone know what ZZ means? luigicroissant comes in with another laugh. Very disrespectful. Hate to see that. As we have the archery range scale finally coming in for luigicroissant. I believe they were working off 2 archery ranges the entire game. As the villagers are going to come down here and die to the castle fire as they attempt to take down this this watchtower, which is a really strategically important point of the game. Sacrifice your villagers to castle fire. Military genius. Okay, so this villager is like actually just barely out of range of this castle. So are they going to be able to like get the job done by themselves? As we see the watchtower now about to get a low 100. They might do it. They might actually do it. Like, I would be really impressed. I think that after this watchtower goes down, we're going to see the GG come in from luigicroissant, no doubt. Holy crap. That was incredible. That's amazing. I did not know that the Malay actually get the supremacy upgrade, which typically is associated with Spanish. Really incredible. Incredible stuff here. Villagers desperately trying to take out the trebuchets. Final villagers trying to get converted. Wood raiders coming in and wreaking havoc. This is an absolute unadulterated cleanup. And adding insult to injury, we got red coming in to steal the gold from the blue player. You hate to see it. So I think like most of the units have been taken out from blue, except for these fishing ships. And check this out. As they're going to get converted. That's awful. We have the blue player coming in with, I believe, their last villager. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, the last villager on the map coming in to the right-hand side as luigicroissant tries to wall off the villager. And they're just going to sneak to the bottom right of the map and be annoying. And, oh, God. No, please no. Not like this. Not the tiger. It's the end. It's the end. Oh, God, it actually is the end. Wow. That was a very, like, anticlimactic victory. You would not think that in games like this that the game can actually end via tiger death. But it happens. It's kind of like very reminiscent of a Jurassic Park kind of situation. And you do hate to see it. You hate to see a player at their lowest. But, yeah, interesting game. So, blue, a few things wrong. I would say that, like, oh, God. Don't send. The biggest thing that was wrong with blue here is that, like, castle timing. Like, could have gone to castle, had many opportunities, could have scaled the archers a bit more, but flooding away the mosquitoes is also, like, very annoying and very difficult to manage. I think that red played okay. Like, I like the walls, I like the farms, I like taking the center, but also very late on doing that. I think you could have taken your second TC and gone straight to the center. That would have been a really, really good move. But, yeah, interesting game from both players. And, yeah, we'll see you next time. Stay tuned.